My name is Emily Carter, and I never thought I'd become the emotional anchor for my sister's crumbling relationship. My older sister, Jessica, had always been the strong one, confident, decisive, the kind of person who could calm a storm just by walking into the room. But that changed the moment she got engaged to Ryan, a quiet, kind man with a smile that looked warm but hid a storm of his own. It all began 2 summers ago when Jessica brought Ryan home for the first time. My parents adored him immediately. He was respectful, helped Dad fix the squeaky porch door, and even helped Mom clean up after dinner. But even then, I sensed something heavy in the air, a kind of tension between him and Jessica that they tried hard to hide behind polite smiles. As months passed, wedding planning took over everyone's lives. Jessica became overwhelmed. Between her demanding job at the marketing firm and all the expectations she put on herself, she stopped laughing the way she used to. She'd sit at the kitchen table late at night, scrolling through wedding Pinterest boards, eyes glazed. One evening, Ryan came by to pick her up for dinner, but she wasn't home yet. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept in days. "Emily," he said with a weary smile, "mind if I wait here?" "Of course," I said, motioning toward the living room. We sat there in silence for a few minutes until he sighed. "I don't think she wants to marry me anymore." I was startled. "Why would you say that? She doesn't talk to me like she used to. Every time we're together, it feels like we're strangers planning someone else's wedding." I didn't know what to say. I wasn't about to get in the middle of their issues, but seeing him that defeated, I couldn't just ignore it. "Maybe she's just stressed," I offered softly. "You know how she gets when things pile up." He nodded, but the look in his eyes said he didn't believe it. That night, I found Jessica in her room, sitting cross-legged on the floor surrounded by wedding brochures. Do you think I'm making a mistake?" she whispered. The honesty in her voice caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" She swallowed hard. "Ryan's good. He's kind. But sometimes I feel like I'm trying to love the idea of him instead of the person he really is." I didn't know how to respond. Love was complicated. I've learned that the hard way from my own heartbreak a year earlier. Weeks went by. Ryan stopped coming around as much. Jessica buried herself in work. My parents tiptoed around the subject, afraid to ask about wedding updates. The whole house felt like it was holding its breath. Then one afternoon, Ryan showed up unexpectedly. Jessica was out of town for a client event, so it was just me and him again. He stood on the porch, looking uncertain. "Hey, I didn't mean to bother you. I just needed someone to talk to." Something about the sadness in his voice made me open the door wider. "You're not bothering me." We sat on the back porch, watching the sun dip behind the trees. He told me about how lost he felt, how Jessica's distance made him question everything. "I keep wondering if I'm just not enough," he admitted quietly. I shook my head. "You are enough, Ryan. But relationships aren't about being perfect. It's about being real and patient." For a moment, he just looked at me, his eyes softening. "You're easy to talk to, Emily." I smiled faintly. "That's what sisters are for." He laughed, and it was the first time I'd heard genuine laughter from him in months. That moment wasn't romantic, it was human. 2 people sitting in shared confusion, trying to find clarity where there was none. When Jessica returned 2 days later, I told her Ryan had come by. Her reaction surprised me. She didn't seem angry, just quiet. "What did he say?" she asked. "That he feels like you're slipping away," I answered honestly. Jessica sighed, tears filling her eyes. "Maybe I am." That night, she packed a small bag and drove to Ryan's apartment. The next morning, she called me, her voice trembling. "We talked all night, Em. You were right. I've been so scared of failing that I stopped trying to connect." Over the next few weeks, things slowly changed. Jessica and Ryan began couples therapy. They stopped worrying about wedding plans and started focusing on understanding each other. Ryan thanked me one evening when I ran into him at the grocery store. "You helped me see her side. Without you, I don't think we'd be fixing things." I shook my head. "You both did the work. I just listened." Months later, their wedding was small but beautiful. I stood beside my sister, tears streaming down my face as she said her vows with a kind of peace I hadn't seen in her before. When it was all over, Ryan approached me, his smile genuine this time. "Thank you for being there for both of us," he said softly. I realized then that what had happened wasn't about sides or secrets, it was about compassion. Sometimes the right person to listen isn't the one you expect. Years later, Jessica and Ryan still send me postcards from every anniversary trip they take. The last one had a note that read, "We made it through the storm, thanks to you." And every time I look at that postcard, I'm reminded that love, real love, isn't about perfection or fairy tales. It's about the courage to stay, to talk, and to try again.